Hello, welcome to our channel. My name is Usman. Today I'm at the Fujifilm House of Photography in London and I've just been handed the X-T4. This is the brand new camera that's just been announced, and unfortunately I'm late to the event, so I'm not going to get a lot of time with this camera, but I am going to try and cover as much as I can in this video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the lounge area. I'm going to take a few pictures with this camera, do a little bit of testing with it and give you some of my thoughts. So first of all, I just want to apologize for the banding in this video. I did try a number of different shutter speeds, but I just couldn't get it to work with the lighting in that place. Also, because I didn't get a lot of time with the camera, I decided to focus on one of the more notable additions to the X-T4, and that is In Body Image Stabilisation, or IBIS for short. So in this video, that's what I'm going to be testing and comparing. So for photographers, IBIS can be really useful, especially in lower light scenarios. So this image over here, for example, was shot at 1.5 seconds and I was still able to get a very usable and sharp result. For the second image, it's the same thing again, except I'm a lot closer to the subject now, and you can see that the results are still very sharp and very stable, which I think is quite incredible because the IBIS in this camera really does allow you to shoot in very low light scenarios. Now, of course, if you're shooting moving subjects or people, then it doesn't matter how good the IBIS is, there's a greater chance that you will see motion blur in your images. Here are some pictures of Kai. For video, the IBIS in the X-T4 is fantastic. Here is a walking handheld shot and you can see just how good the IBIS is. Compare that to the Sony a7R III and you can see that the Fuji is doing a much better job, although the Sony does have a significantly larger sensor. And finally, here's a quick comparison against the X-T3 on the Ronin SC, and you can see that the gimbal is quite obviously better. The X-T4 also has digital image stabilization along with IBIS, but unfortunately it's not that great in my experience. It's a little bit jerky, but this is a pre-production model, so maybe a firmware update is required. However, for panning clips, the digital image stabilization actually improves on IBIS and does a fantastic job. IBIS in the X-T4 might not be up to the standards of some smaller sensor cameras like the GoPro or even some Micro Four Thirds cameras that are currently on the market. However, when you compare it to some of its full-frame counterparts, the X-T4 performs incredibly well. You can produce some really smooth looking footage, especially if you take a little bit of extra care and maybe add some stabilization in post. Although I did make some points against the digital IS in the X-T4, you have to remember this was a pre-production model and further updates could be made to improve the performance. From what I could see, the digital IS was seemingly overcompensating, so it was going from one side to another very quickly, which was producing that jerky looking footage. And I think that maybe a couple of updates to the firmware or just the algorithm could be enough to make that really good. Aside from that, if you completely ignore the digital IS, the IBIS itself in the X-T4 is fantastic. So if this is quite an important thing, then I'd say this is a very compelling feature to upgrade from the X-T3 or any of the other X-T cameras to the X-T4. This is especially the case when you consider some of the other improvements that Fuji has made in the X-T4, like battery life. Now, battery life has been a major complaint from many, and including myself, and Fuji has finally updated this, so I'm really pleased with that, and I want to test out how this translates into real-world performance. Now, some of you may not be pleased with the fact that the X-T4 is using the same sensor as the X-T3, meaning that the image and video quality is going to be pretty much identical. However, the way I look at this is that Fuji has made the X-T system far more well-rounded. They've updated all the core functionalities and they've just made it a much better system overall. And on that basis, it works out as a much better camera for people who shoot video and stills. The flip-out touchscreen is a fantastic addition. Some of you may dislike it, but honestly, it really is a useful feature, especially when you consider the fact that you can put the screen away, which is great for transporting the camera because it protects the screen from scratches and potential damage. The other way to look at this is that the X-T4 is going to be the more expensive big brother to the X-T3, meaning that if some of you are still shooting with the X-T2, you can now upgrade to the X-T3 at a much cheaper, much more reasonable price. Or if you're looking at buying a second body, then you can get a much better deal on the X-T3. Either way, I'm really pleased that Fuji has released the X-T4. This is a fantastic update, and I'm really excited to get my hands on this and really test it out and see what it's all about. Anyway, just want to say thank you so much for watching my video. If you like this video, hit the like button, please subscribe, share this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you.